I was inspired. I was like, what the heck, just try it out. And I didn't expect to get accepted to the school because I had never sang in my life. But I guess they saw something in me, so they accepted me in. And then from there, I met producers and started making records. So it was kind of uh, just a weird transition. It wasn't something that I had planned since I was a kid. I didn't know that that was going to be my thing. So
Oh,
I was inspired. I was like, what the heck, just try it out. And I didn't expect to get accepted to the school because I had never sang in my life. But I guess they saw something in me, so they accepted me in. And then from there, I met producers and started making records. So it was kind of uh, just a weird transition. It wasn't something that I had planned since I was a kid. I didn't know that that was going to be my thing. So
oh. Hello and welcome back, all my Courage, Confidence, and Connections podcast fans. I am Janice Debo. I am your host, and we are here with a wonderful recording artist who has some surprises and some things to share with us in addition to her music. And she probably won't sing for us today, but she is appearing as an angel. So you see the halo over her head. I have to make a joke at that, but yeah. She's got her little halo on, and she just says she can be rebellious, but we were talking about that. So
yeah,
anyway,
that picture, that's pretty rebellious.
it is. Well, this welcome, Shevyn.
Hello.
Hi. So delighted to have you on the show. And I'd like you to let our audience know where you're coming to us from.
Houston, Texas.
Oh, hot and humid.
Yeah, it's a sweaty town.
It is a sweaty town and the worst traffic I've ever seen when I was there. So
Oh yeah, between that and LA, I don't know what's worse. Yeah,
good point. Good point. I've never been to LA, but Houston was brutal.
you're not missing out.
Yeah, that's good to know. Yeah. I did interview somebody from down there the other day, and I told them the only parts of California I'd seen were San Jose and Redding, and she goes, "Well, you haven't seen much." So,
Yeah,
so she said, "Not too many people like San Jose." Well,
yeah.
coming to us from Texas, uh, Shevyn is a recording artist, and we're going to talk about her background and a little bit about what she's doing now, and then going into what she's really excited about in addition to the music. Uh, Tell our audience a little bit about your background and how things were growing up, because I think you grew up in Texas, correct?
Yes, I grew up in Texas. I grew up in a dance studio. My mom owned a dance studio, and eventually I owned a nonprofit myself because I like, helping kids and stuff. I just had a great childhood, just fun in the sun and winning a lot of dance competitions. I was a six-time national solo champion and
Wow.
not a care in the world until I was 18 years old.
Isn't that the case with all of us? And eventually adulthood hits us right between the eyes.
Yeah, I was thinking about it the other day and I said, wow, everything was great for the first 18 years.
And now, I think there's a saying that you may probably hear about adulting now. Adulting is no fun.
No. Mm-mm.
And it can be, but the responsibilities are really huge. And
Yeah.
did you grow up in Houston, or is there another place in Texas?
It's a suburb outside of Houston called Friendswood. Pretty sheltered, pretty relaxed, very friendly, safe. So yeah, it was a blast. I had a blast growing up and fully enjoyed it.
Oh, that's great. So what kind of dance did you take and teach?
So it's like dance drill team. So it's
Oh,
jazz, lyrical, a little bit of hip hop, not a whole lot. More like what you would see like high school dance drill teams do, except for that I did that on a younger scale growing up in competition. So
oh,
we're actually, I won't say where it is located because that's just a safety thing, but we're actually an all star team. So we get, we're top 10 in the world now. So it's been a business that's been around for a long time, and me and my mom we enjoy it, like teaching the kids, and it's just a fun business. So we really enjoy it.
oh, that's great. Well, it's such a good time to have kids involved in something upbeat and positive. And who can't relate to music at some level? I believe
Yeah.
I believe we all can. So you grew up dancing, but at some point in your, I take it, I don't know, maybe in your young life, when did singing come into your life?
It's really crazy because as a kid, I like even teenage years, like it never crossed my mind that I would be a singer. Like I would watch MTV and stuff, and people would say, friends would say, don't you want to be the one out front? And I was like, no, I don't want to be the one out front. I could never sing, nothing like that. And I loved dancing. I said maybe I could dance in the background, but I loved dancing, and I never saw myself as a singer. However, I will say that I had a very strong connection to music, and I think in a way that like most people don't, at least as dancers are concerned, because most people, they pick a song they like and they'll do a solo routine to it if they want to do it and whatever. But I would go to music stores with my mom, and the whole summer we'd have to pick out all these different songs for the whole team. So I went through tons and tons of music, like different genres and stuff, and I was extremely picky about the songs that I would choose to dance to as a soloist. And I would choose songs like, Whitney Houston, I Will Always Love You, or Celine Dion, To Love You More, like songs with very strong emotions. And I would feel it under my skin. And mind you, like, I had never been in a relationship, I was just a kid, but for some reason I could fully like embody that and feel that. So when I would perform growing up, I would get standing ovations and things like that. People would sometimes ask for an autograph or a picture. They were really moved by my performance. Some people would say they happy cried because I put so much emotion into it. So it wasn't just like I was going through the motions. And I had this kind of creative knack for designing my own costumes. And I would just sit there and dream about winning all day. And I totally manifested. So I was just, six-time national solo champion. So I say all that to say, like, in a way, I was already an artist because I was already extremely creative, and I was being very artistic with my choreography and with my costume design and with my connection to the music. So although I wasn't expressing myself vocally yet, I think I already had that relationship with music. So then by the time, I was like late teens, early 20s, somewhere in there, I said, okay, what the heck? There's an audition. They're having auditions for this music school, and my friend, she's, all on the radio. She's kind of like a big one hit wonder right now. So I was inspired. I was like, what the heck? Just try it out. And I didn't expect to get accepted to the school because I'd never sang in my life. But I guess they saw something in me. So they accepted me in. And then from there, I met producers and started making records. So it was kind of uh, just a weird transition. It wasn't something that I had planned since I was a kid. I didn't know that that was going to be my thing. So.
Oh, wow. And from there, now, were you ever on anything like I don't know when things like American Idols and all that stuff came out. Did you ever go to any auditions with some of these shows?
I wasn't on American Idol or The Voice or anything like that.
Ah, well, you've certainly you've done well for yourself. Now,
Thank you.
let's talk about what genres, because I know you probably like a lot of different genres. What category does your music fall into these days?
It's very country pop or pop country. Those are definitely the two genres I'd say falls into. Some of my past stuff was a little more pop dance or pop rock, but now it's falling more, country pops.
Yeah, I think you mentioned to me that you feel like you have shifted more into country. What was the
Mhm.
motivation or the inspiration to transition towards country? Now, Texas, yeah, I can get that. But inside, was there a time when you just felt more connected to country music?
Yes. Well, and it's funny. It's so funny because I grew up listening to a lot of country music. My grandma was one of the ones that raised me until my stepdad came in the picture. And so my grandma would be driving me around, and we would be listening to, all kinds of country, Reba McEntire, everything you can think of. And so I had a strong connection to it as a child. And I guess it's funny, it kind of like the thing where I didn't plan on being a music artist, but the relationship with the music was already there. It's similar with the genre as well because my relationship with the genre was already there, but I didn't see myself as that the same way I didn't see myself as a singer before. I only saw myself as a dancer. now, I only saw myself because I grew up in a dance studio as a pop dance artist. So I was like, that's what, if anything, that's what I'd be good at because I grew up doing it. So I have to stick with that genre. So it's funny how we kind of have these self-limiting beliefs and we just see ourselves a certain way. And it's not like the worst thing. It's just the way I saw myself. So I was like, well, this is where I fit in. Um, so yeah, as I made many records, I won awards, I've had a lot of fun doing it. And then, over time, I guess, I always listen to country music and stuff, and I write a lot of songs that could be country songs. But I was like, maybe I'll do pop country, especially whenever it was presented to me by a booking agent. He said, I think, you do really well. And I said, well, maybe I'll try it out. And so I did the record and it came honestly so naturally to me. I don't know. It probably came more naturally to me than even the pop stuff. And it sounds really good on my voice. And a lot of people are giving it, good reception and saying, everybody says it suits you. That's what they say. Everybody says it suits you. That's what they say. So I'm like, all right. So, and what's cool about it is because it's not so far away, country and pop kind of blend. So I feel I'm able maybe now to actually be my hybrid self.
Yeah, now give our audience some idea of what are some of the well-known names other than yours that fall into pop country. Because I mean, I think of Reba, but she's pretty much country. Although,
Yeah, exactly.
yes,
Shania Twain, she's very pop country. She had a few of her songs that crossed over to pop, so they would have like the pop version. I think the only thing they really do is like remove the cowbell or something like that. So yeah, I mean, it was cool because her stuff was already, it was country pop. It wasn't like bluegrass. And don't get me wrong, I do like some bluegrass. Like I like Alan Jackson. I like stuff like that. That's just not my style of performing and singing and writing. But I can get down with anything. It's just like what feels good to me as an artist. But yeah, I'd say Shania Twain, Megan Maroney is a recent example. I'd say she kind of is, I guess, kind of like what does she call herself? The emo cowgirl or something. So she's got a little rock element to it, which is really cool. Yeah, those are the only two I could think of off the top of my head, but I'm sure there's others.
because one of my favorites, he used to be Hootie and the Blowfish. What's his name? Um,
I know who you're talking about. Yeah.
yeah, but when he left him, he left his, but that was more contemporary. I don't think I considered Hootie pop music, but might have been. Um, but
Yeah.
but he transitioned over and
Oh,
into country now. So
I can hear that in his voice. Like thinking of the songs, I can totally hear it in the voice. And you know who also reminds me of that? That was probably around that same time era was Matchbox 20. I know he didn't transition, but I'm a huge fan of Matchbox 20. And it was really cool because the lead guitarist of Matchbox 20, or he was the lead guitarist for quite some time, he actually ended up giving me this award. And that's him right there in that picture.
oh
So I feel like it's kind of cool when you think about some of the pop rock genres because they could easily, I mean, with the swap of a cowbell and a little bit more of an accent, there it is. It's country already.
yeah, really, I know. And of course, in the olden days, there were I lost my truck, I lost my dog, I lost my wife, blah blah blah. So it has changed a lot. Although some of the oldies were quite good, like Randy Travis and Garth Brooks.
Oh, love Randy Travis.
Oh,
Yeah.
he's he's great. And I actually, a good friend of mine who's passed, knew Scotty McCreery and his family. So
Wow.
yeah, so I felt like I had a little connection there. But she's gone, so
Mhm.
I'd love to interview him. I'm trying to reach out to more artists. A close friend of mine, best friend actually, was a co-founder of a hard rock band, and oh yeah, I've got an interview with him and his co-founder, the two of them, and their characters. They're in their, well, they're pushing 60. I'll put it that way. But it's great because you see people in the industry, and as they age, sometimes they step away and they come back better and stronger,
Yeah.
which is great. You haven't gotten to that age yet. You're still at the you're still you're young, much younger. So anyway, now on the note of music, now do you've got all this dance experience. Do you choreograph your dances yourself when you're on stage, or do you go on tour?
I work with the choreographer and I have my own ideas and I implement their ideas as well. So it's not like full-fledged choreography with the country stuff. I mean, except for maybe on like a breakdown section where it's instrumental and I do a little country dancing, but it's nothing, it's not like pop where I'm dancing in heels and it's full on choreography. So it's totally fun and relaxed and I get to really enjoy myself, I think, a little bit more. So
Kicking up the cowgirl boots.
yeah.
I think that's so cool. I love the fact that you came from dance and moved into music because it shows that our audience, you've got a talent, you've probably got several, and you don't always discover them right away. They come in stages at times. And for me, spent years, I never knew I could write, and now I write. But
Wow.
yeah, I you just you find out things that people see your gifts. Now, I've had a lot of people point out my gifts and help lead me in different directions. Was there anybody in your life that you felt was a mentor that helped you guide you and point you towards directions that you might not have seen in your own life?
That's a good question. Mentors. To be honest, I'm my own biggest inspiration.
Yeah,
I
that's
think for me, I think it's more of the like when people tell me I can't do something, I'm like, oh, watch me.
watch me.
Like I will. I don't care if it takes 20 years, 30 years, like I will do it. It really motivates me, especially if it's something that I really want.
Hmm.
Because I don't care if they say something that I don't care about. I'm like, well, you're probably right, whatever. But if it's something that I care about and that I'm really passionate about, I'm like, whatever, watch me. So I think that I'm a little rebellious in that way, but it's extremely motivating for me. I think my biggest mentor would have been Jerry Lee Lewis because
Oh,
my grandma made me watch. Well, she suggested that I watch it once, the Great Balls of Fire movie, and I fell in love with it, and I kept watching it over and over every single day, and I think I was just fascinated by him as a performer, and that he lit the piano on fire, and that he had the ability to just do whatever he wanted, like going across the tracks, blending the cultures, making up basically like his own genre, if you will, or subgenre. So I was like, this is great. I like a person who's kind of self motivated, you know what I mean? But it doesn't hurt to have a mentor.
yeah.
There's definitely people I look up to, but I don't know if there's anyone really holding my hand the whole way. I think that's something I was thinking about the other day. I'm like, thanks to me, I'm still doing what I love because I didn't give up on it and I didn't let people make me feel discouraged. I mean, there was times where I might have felt a little discouraged, like, man, I wish, my song was better or whatever, but I just kept going strong. So,
But that's great. And not everybody has a mentor or even wants one or needs one. But you trust your own judgment. And I'm all about listening to your intuition and following your heart and your passion. And that's what you're doing. And so I was gonna ask you about music. You write all your own songs? Do you write all your own music?
not all of it. I do write a lot of it, but there is some writers that are some amazing writers that have given me songs that I really resonated with. So I've sung those as well.
Oh, okay, that's great. So if we have any songwriters out there, perhaps they can be in touch with you.
Yeah, absolutely.
You'll consider it. And how about cover songs? When you perform, do you do cover songs? I know some people, and I know personally some artists that just like, no, I'm not gonna, I'm gonna get paid for my music, not somebody else's. Pay for somebody else's. What are your thoughts on cover songs, and do you do them?
Oh yeah, I do them. I think they're fun. I think if, people know it and it's familiar to them and it's familiar to me, it's just a fun thing that we can all kind of, have in common and then we can introduce something new to them, of course, but I mean, why not? If it's a great song, it's a great song. So, the covers I tend to do now are like, some Shania Twain, some Gretchen Wilson. Um, but the cover that I'm most known for in my pop career would have been No Doubt's I'm Just a Girl. And
Oh,
that kind of went viral on Facebook for a while. And then I might have taken it down or whatever. It's because my vocals have improved since then.
Oh,
But at the time, it was just a really strong, like, rock and roll performance. So I really really like to admire other artists as well and their creativity. And hey, why not?
and you go on tour? You have tours?
I haven't toured, no. Like I've done random shows throughout.
Okay.
There's been talks of tours, but yeah, I think that would be the next step in my career for sure. And I'm waiting for the day. It'll be a lot of fun when it happens. But I've done some pretty big shows and then some smaller shows, and I've just really, kind of enjoyed it over the years. Just whenever it happens, it happens. It pops up. So
In my interview with the rock band, those guys, we were talking about tours, and I got an education, Shevin. I got an education online, I mean on air, about all the expenses and what it takes to go on a tour, the roadies, the all the people that have to be involved. And I was shocked. Honestly, I was really shocked because I'm not an artist of, in the music business, so I didn't know how involved it was to put a tour together. So I was I got that education on that podcast.
I'd like to hear that one. Yeah, it sounds. I'm sure there's a lot, and there's so much that goes into a lot of things that I think people don't realize,
Hmm.
and in music specifically, but just in general in life. I mean, it takes
I
a
know.
lot just to live.
It does take a lot to live. It sure does. Well, speaking of which, I know you've got something that you are really excited and passionate about to share with our audience. And honestly, I'm into energy work and things like that. So this is definitely up my alley, and I want to hear all about it and tell our audience all about what you are into now.
Yes. So right now, I have an Instagram page called Relationship Coach Clarity. If you want to look that up, Relationship Coach Clarity. And I have a digital product that I think can be useful for everyday people that don't necessarily, maybe they don't want to go to a psychologist or psychiatrist or go to the doctor. It's just some tools that can help everyone regulate their nervous system. I didn't realize this is kind of one of those things that is kind of like in me, kind of like we discussed earlier, different things that I didn't realize was kind of there. But I kind of started to notice it. I was like, well, I really like do all these things and I'm so calm all the time. And I mean, I'm still excited. I'm just like calm, you know what I mean? But
So,
like, I don't really get anxiety and I don't get, panic attacks and things like that. And I understand some of that is like a diagnosis. So this isn't medical advice. This isn't for everybody. But for people that find themselves just in, kind of getting a little triggered here and there and it's more circumstantial, I think I know what can help and I have those tools available. So they can go to link in my bio for the relationship coach clarity page, link in bio for the nervous system reset. And I've also made one that's called Focus Reset, which is for attention deficit disorder, which I have. I don't like to say it over myself because I don't want to claim it over myself. I had it as a child. I feel like I've grown out of it quite a bit. I don't use medication for it anymore. I used to take Adderall to help focus, and it did help me through school. But honestly, Adderall can cause anxiety,
mm,
and it's hard. Like honestly, it's hard to go to sleep on that stuff. And I
yeah.
just want to feel like my total self, and I do because of all the things that I do that kind of help keep me grounded and just relaxed. So, and it's not hard. These aren't hard things, but they're little things that you can implement in your day to day routine. So, for the ADD people, it may be it's similar to Nervous Reset, but slightly different. So, I made a separate product for that. But I think there's a lot of people too. If there's any musicians watching out there, I wouldn't say most, but maybe there's a certain percentage of musicians or artists that happen to have ADD. I don't know why that is. Probably because we're just creative people and we're a little hyper sometimes. Yeah, if you have that and you find yourself like, I don't know how. Like for me, it's like I'm like the Safari browser and I've got like all these tabs open. I understand that that's like most people, but for ADD people, I feel like we're kind of it's a little bit wired differently. We're a little bit on this cycle. I think for me, I've learned how to like, okay, I got to tackle that one now. But Sal, you know how when you go to your phone because you went to like find something else, but then something else pops up that you need to do.
Oh, yeah.
Oh my God. Like it's as an ADD person, it's it's like a hamster wheel. You're just like, whoa, there's a lot going on here. Like So I still look, I pat myself on the back that I made it here today and I had done a lot of stuff, but it is something to be managed. And I have some tools that can help people that maybe they don't have to be on medication. Again, that's up to your doctor. But if you want to try to manage it on your own,
Yeah.
I can probably have some tools that might help you for that.
Well,
So.
speaking of those tools, now, is it because I use a lot of different things. Now, there are some that are like, is it like meditation or is it just music with tones? Or what can you describe these tools a little bit more in depth?
Yeah, no, it's I didn't really actually that's a great idea, like a meditation. That may have been mentioned like once in there, but that wasn't the whole product or anything like that. There's some different supplements you can take, which by the way, I'm not selling any of them. I'm just saying these are supplements you can take.
Mhm.
And then ultimately different things that you can do throughout the day. You know, normal things that people don't realize that really help them. Like one, for example, is, and I may have talked about this the last time because I'm a little passionate about it, but like going into the sun for 15, 20 minutes. You know, people staying inside all day, staring at a computer screen, it's not really good. You know, the sun is not just good for your health because it renews your mitochondria. It's good for depression. It's good for focusing. It's good for a lot of things. And I think it's a, like way underrated that people don't realize because they're like, oh my God, the sun, the sunburn, it's bad for my skin. Like, I would rather be happy and dry out my skin for 15 minutes than not get any sunlight. I mean, yeah, it's vitamin D, and you also need to take vitamin D. But
Mhm.
there's simple things that a lot of them are. I mean, it's all listed out. There's a lot of things people can do, and it doesn't necessarily cost money to do it. You know, so and there's not like just a one thing. I mean, there's so many things that they can implement, and they can choose which ones work for them. So.
Is this on an app or is it on your website? And what is your accessibility for people?
So it's my Instagram. It's the relationship coach clarity.
Okay.
That's the Instagram handle, relationship coach clarity. And it's a link in bio, and it's just a digital product. Once you click on it, you can pay for it, and then it's yours, and then you can download it. And it's really not that much information. Like it's it's a quick read, but like to implement those things, yeah, you have to make a schedule for yourself and actually do it because it works. At least it works for me. I'll
That
speak for myself.
Well, if it works for you and you're sharing it with people, it's an awesome because we're in a time where anxiety levels and that type of thing can be really high. If
Hmm.
I stay away from the news, I watch movies, I try to keep it light. Um, but there is a lot out there that can make us absolutely nuts if we
Yeah.
and if you don't take that time to step back and get that sunshine and fresh air and just take deep breaths. I was working with someone the other day and they were kind of, that panicky or they had some stuff going on. I said, I want you to go outside, take some deep breaths and give yourself a little break here. And she goes, I need a glass of wine. I'm like, that too, if you want it, go get it. But because we didn't grow up being taught how to stay calm and how to manage our emotions. I've been listening to Mel Robbins, uh,
Mm.
a book called Let Them lately, and we're not raised and learn how to manage our emotions, and they're going to come, but unless we have the tools to manage them, we can go off in a crazy direction.
Yeah, for sure. And I feel like people probably, like you mentioned something that maybe I'll make a whole nother product where it's like there's a whole bunch of stuff to avoid. Here's no stuff to do, but here's the stuff to avoid because
Yeah.
that is true. I mean, like if people are just watching people a lot of times that like watch, and I'm not trying to hate on anyone right now, but if you're watching like horror movies all the time and you're like, it doesn't affect me, it does affect you. Like, I know people think they might enjoy it. It's like a scary roller coaster. I get it, but it does affect you. And you
Mhm.
should maybe limit that on some level because what you watch and what you hear, and even like you said, the news, we think, oh, I can handle it. I just want to know. But maybe ignorance is bliss. Maybe we don't need to know. And if you really need to know, it's probably going to be like an Amber Alert on your phone for like the hurricane or whatever it is. Like, I generally don't watch that stuff because it's just like pollution going into my mind. So, and my husband's like, why don't you like to watch like scary movies and stuff, or like not horror movies, but like like the ones that are like action. I do like some action, but if it's just like there's after that, like I'm gonna watch a comedy or something. Like I think my natural vibration is like I want to laugh, I want to smile, and if people could kind of train themselves more that way, I think they'll find themselves generally like happier and having a more positive outlook because we kind of like train our energy. You know what I mean? So
I do. I think one of my big concerns is how much time our kids and teenagers spend on social media, but also gaming. And I don't even want, I have no idea what that does to your brain, but it can't be good for your psyche. It just can't for your energy. And
yeah.
so what age is this product that you've so generously put together? What age?
I honestly could be for anyone because there's nothing like suggested in there. Like I didn't suggest wine or something like that. Like people can do that obviously if they're an adult, but there's nothing I suggested that wouldn't be okay for kids because I think the thing I suggested was like magnesium glycinate and some other things, but there's just normal stuff that I think maybe it's underrated. People don't think about it and they don't realize that it's not just one thing. You might need to implement all of these things or a few of these things and they really don't take that much time. You put a little extra effort into taking care of yourself, and next thing you should feel better on some level. I don't know, each person has their own level of happiness and calm, but I would think that it would help a lot of people because, and that's what I'm passionate about. That's why I made it super cheap, but I did take my time and energy to put it together, and I kind of lived this out and figured it out. So I felt like, okay, it's worth something, and I think that some people can benefit from it, and that many years from now they'll be benefiting from it. Again, no one taught me this stuff. I just kind of had to figure it out myself as I
Um,
lived, and I don't know. I find myself pretty calm nowadays. I'm not saying never get a little rattled, but it probably have to take something pretty significant to rattle me.
yeah, that's great though. It's an awesome opportunity for our audience to tap into something. And these days there are a lot of options, but we are a culture of a very short attention span.
Yeah.
And
That's
so,
the thing, and I don't think people pay attention long enough to learn the things they need to learn, and I've been guilty of that myself. So sometimes I tell myself, stick with this for a few minutes. Like, don't just glance at it. Like, let's give it a few minutes and try to learn something new.
oh, absolutely. And I forgot what the attention span is, but it's very short. I think it's under 10 seconds or something like
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. With the new Instagram reels and stuff, I think they're like telling you like people stop watching after the first like 10 seconds or something ridiculous, and I'm like, what?
I know, I know.
We are way too distracted. That's a whole nother problem for ADD people. Like we were already distracted by our own brains because our own brains like entertain us or have thoughts like we're like that. But it's like now we've got all this other stuff like social media. It's like oh my gosh, like you're gonna have to really like buckle down. If you're an ADD person, you really need that product.
And that's great. That's great. I don't remember the name of the movie, but the thing, the dog goes squirrel. So, so that is true. And that's more than just, I don't think you have to have ADD to get squirreled, I know. But
That's true. That's so true. Yeah. Probably
shiny
just worse for ADD people.
yes, a little shiny object or whatever. But I did have a situation. I always encourage people to pay attention, try to stay in the present moment, pay attention to what they're doing and to who they're talking to. So I've got to interject a funny story because I'm sure you probably got some too. But I had a dog, she was half Malamute and half Basset Hound. And yeah, very, very unusual, but wonderful, gorgeous girl. She had big old husky shoulders and strong legs and about 60 pounds. So I was standing outside when I still had her back in North Carolina. And I had her on a leash. I had to put a pinch collar on her because her strength was unbelievable. And I'm standing there holding the leash, the end of the leash, and talking to the neighbors. And their dog was there. They were friends, my dog and their dog. So, but all of a sudden, with my back turned to, she got behind me and she saw a squirrel. Well, half basset hound, what do you think is going to happen? She's she saw this squirrel, Shevin, and she took off, and I just went whoop. flying through the air. Oh yeah.
Oh,
It was like a cartoon. I was just whoop and down, fly. I didn't get hurt. I mean, it shocked me, probably knocked the wind out of me for a second. But yeah, she was gonna get that squirrel until but I held onto the leash. She didn't go too far.
oh my gosh.
Yeah, but that's what it
So were you knocked down, like you fell down, or she pulled you with, like you were running behind her?
she pulled me, and since she was behind me, it literally took my feet out from under me, and I landed like that.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah,
Yeah, I think my dog's done something similar to me before. I mean, just told flat on my face or something like that. I mean, it's really scary because like I didn't want him to run like the doctor's office. Like he come somehow got out from under the leash and everything and right getting out of the car and there's like a whole road right there with like I guess you could basically call it a highway of some sort. And he just starts running toward it and I was like, no. And I think it hurt in my voice to look behind me and I ran and I did everything I could with this big golden retriever just to hold him. Like I'm like carrying him back into the clinic, and the vets see me outside, and they come out to help, and I'm like, just get him aside. I'm like, don't put the leash on, just get him aside, just get him aside before he runs away again. I was so scared. Like,
oh,
yeah, it's crazy. I mean, it's funny, but it's something scary too. Now that'll give me anxiety.
I know, I know. Yeah, talking about squirrels though, that was I definitely got squirreled. So
You go squirrel.
I got squirreled in a big way. So audience, pay attention. If you get squirreled, you need what Shevyn's got.
You get squirrel.
Yeah. Yep, that's what you
I
need.
used to date a guy, and his nickname was Squirrel. I
Oh,
was thinking about that the other day. I said, "What the heck was I doing with that guy?" His
oh
name
my
was
word.
Squirrel.
Oh, how in I'll have to ask how
I
deep.
don't know.
You don't know.
I guess we were a little squirrely back then.
Yeah. Well, I think when we're younger, we can be very squirrely, but I've asked myself the same questions. Why did I get with that one?
Yeah, like what was wrong with me?
Yep, I definitely am do a lot of introspection of why some of the decisions I made were made.
Yeah, and that's another thing on the Instagram, the relationship coach Clarity. I'll be offering private sessions because I really just want to help people, like when I can, of course. I mean, my time is limited, but when I can, if they book one of the available slots, I love helping people. I feel like I just have a natural knack for it. I was wanting to be a psychologist and studied that in school for a bit, but then once I realized they had people that had like multiple personalities and schizophrenia, I was like, no, I don't want to do this. This is so scary. But I do. I have a natural, I think, ability to help people, probably just because I've been through so much and some, kind of innate, just knowing, I guess, of like what healthy is. I don't know. I wouldn't say that about myself maybe 10 years ago or something, but now I think I've been through enough stuff. I'm like, okay, this is healthy and this is how you get to that. And I feel like my advice could be valuable for those that need it. So,
Yeah, and you're naturally a teacher because you were teaching dance. And
yeah,
and so teaching is in your DNA.
yeah,
Not only are you an artist, singing, dancing, writing, you are a natural teacher. And there's a lot of gifts that you have that you can share with people. So I think developing this thing on Instagram is just brilliant because some of us sit on there far too long and we need to bump into something different. So I'm gonna go find that on my phone and check it out. It's we can't have too many tools in these days, and I advise people to take, if you don't take downtime and you don't take time to take care of yourself, it will catch up with you mentally, emotionally, physically.
yeah.
Now,
Yeah, I think it's important for people to like themselves, to love themselves, because we're always just, a lot of people beat themselves up or they're just distracted looking at other people all the time because of social media. And so
yeah,
that's probably another thing that I like to teach people is how to love themselves if they don't already love themselves enough. Maybe they can love themselves even more. I don't know.
yeah.
So,
And comparison, I don't know if you address this, but for me, one of the things that I see in our culture is comparison. And I want to sing like Shevyn. I want to dance like Shevyn. I want to be blah, 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 like so and so. That is dangerous. I'll tell the audience right now,
Hmm.
you're not Shevyn, okay? So you can't be her. And so our uniqueness is what makes us,
Yeah.
we need to embrace our uniqueness. And we are in a society where I think women are more prone to, or young girls even, more prone to, try to be a certain size, do a certain thing, act a certain way. And it's dangerous. And then
Yeah.
adults get caught up in it too.
Yeah. And I will say that, one of the businesses that I'm in, that there's a lot of women, and I know there's a lot of gossip because it gets back to me. I know people say things that aren't true or that are half truths and they're over exaggerated. And my mom is like, "Well, don't you care?" I don't care. She's like, "Well, I would care," and I'm like, "Well, I don't care because I just don't." But the problem is, most people don't know how to not care, and so that's really what hurts them at the end of the day. I mean, yeah, sure, it's good to care about customer reviews and things like that, and then you want people to like you, and I get that, and I'm somewhat like that. But there's another part of me that's kind of just like radically like, I said, well, what if I did everything perfect? There's probably still going to come up with something. So I think, especially like young kids, but I mean, it could be for even older women as well, getting to that place where you just constantly need people to understand who you really are, what you're really about,
Mhm.
is helpful. Because, I mean, yes, I think ultimately, like, I feel like I really would like to be understood, but I have gone like, don't care what y'all think because I can't make y'all's brains like get it. So if you get it, great. And if you don't get it and you misperceive, because everything's perception and that's your perception of me, which doesn't mean it's necessarily true, then fine. And I'm good with that. The one person I want to really understand me is like, oh, my husband, of course. And those, I think, relationships are, worth, valuing more and considering like explaining yourself maybe a little bit more. But at the end of the day, it's like not everybody is gonna like everybody. And there's kids, you have to deal with bullying, and it's like I deal with it, but not like it's more behind my back, and I hear about it, and it's like it's part of life, and it sucks. But I guess there's people that really aren't prepared to deal with that, and if they're really hypersensitive, like I used to be, it can be a bad thing. But over time, I've just developed thick skin to the point where I really like myself, I accept myself, and I've had psychologists confirm this to like
Yeah.
other people. Like she accepts herself. So
Mhm.
if you don't accept her, fine. But she accepts herself, and I think that if other people could learn to do that more, that would be a helpful tool as well. And that's something I'm passionate about: helping people to accept themselves and not worry what other people think. And it's easier said than done. So
Exactly, it is. But you start with liking yourself to loving yourself, and it's not like you don't care about people, like you said. It's not like you're going, well,
yeah.
but you have to get to where it doesn't affect you, and because otherwise we're people pleasing all the time. You
Mm-hmm.
can't please anybody but yourself. All
Exactly.
100%. You just might as well just rack it up to I am who I am, and if you don't like it, I'm not going to change for you. And
Yeah. Basically.
yeah, basically, yeah. So it's about being yourself, and it sounds like the tools you've got and your willingness to actually step into the coaching arena. It sounds like to me to help people and help them to own who they are, love who they are, and be who they are.
Absolutely. Yeah. And I will say, just to make sure I go on the record to say, like, I'm not talking, obviously, like, as you kind of touched on it, I'm not talking about being narcissistic. That's a whole different personality disorder that needs its own attention with a psychologist, a real psychologist. But loving yourself in a healthy way, yeah, for
Yeah,
sure.
absolutely. Well, the tools sound amazing. We will have all of your links at the end of the broadcast and your information about that and your music, everything you want to share, audience. It will have all of Shevyn's information, links, and you can be in touch with her. Who knows? She may wind up coaching everything under the sun. I don't know. She's got a lot. She's got a lot going on, and I'm really pleased to have you on the show. You're a light in this world, and I'm glad you've embraced. Yep, you see, she's a light. That was, I didn't even think about that when I said it, but truly, she's wearing a halo to prove it.
And yeah, and so my music will provide that link. I've got new music out and some more new music coming up too, so I can't wait to share that to everybody. For my Instagram, you can find me at Shevyn Roberts, and I'm sure we'll put that link or on the screen there. And then my Facebook is at Shevyn Roberts, and then I have at Shevyn Roberts Music Facebook, and then my TikTok is Shevyn Pop Hits. But specifically for the Relationship Coach Clarity, that is the only Instagram page. Relationship Coach Clarity, that is the handle. So
Okay, so if you're not on Instagram, you're going to want to get on there and be in touch with Shevyn. Thank you for being my amazing guest and for bringing your light, literally, into the podcast world. And I'm delighted to have you as a part of my show.
awesome. It was so great talking to you.
Well, same here. And audience, we will see you next time. And thank you, Shevyn Roberts. Roberts, boy, good thing I'm signing off Friday afternoon and all. Okay, thank you, everybody.
Bye.